Today we have a really special guest on. This is not the normal type of guest we bring on. Waro has been following me for a long time. He told me sometime this year that he is going to quit his job and become a full-time trader. Lo and behold, now he has managed to quit his job, he's full-time trading, and he is on the top 100 on the Binance leaderboard with a profit and loss this year of $1 million. Meditators, welcome to another episode of the Market Meditations podcast. Today we have a really special guest on. This is not the normal type of guest we bring on. Waro has been following me for a long time. He told me sometime this year that he is going to quit his job and become a full-time trader. Lo and behold, now he has managed to quit his job, he's full-time trading, and he is on the top 100 on the Binance leaderboard with a profit and loss this year of $1 million. I'm pretty sure it's over $1 million. It's going up and down a bit, but Waro, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was an incredible year.
Well, I'm sure it has been an incredible year, man. And you just told me something incredible off the podcast that you started with 10 grand this year. So that's going to be an incredible story coming up. But before we jump into that, let's take a step back. Who is Waro and how did he get here?
Oh, how did I get here? Well, who am I? I'm Waro. I'm from the Netherlands, and I used to be a front-end developer, and I'm now a full-time trader.
Well,
so that's who I am. I bought the top of 2018 in the last bull market. That's my start to crypto.
So you came in 2018 and bought the top of the bull market. Were you trying to trade? Were you gambling? Were you investing? How did that happen?
To be honest, I don't know my exact mindset, but I know that I had classmates who were getting really rich out of crypto, and I wanted it too. So that's what I remember from that time period.
And so you bought in 2018. When did you start trading? When did that transition happen? When did you decide, okay, I'll buy and sell here, I'll try to make money in the market?
Honestly, I think that mainly started in 2020.
Oh, so before 2020, you held it?
Well, I was trying to trade some altcoins, or at least I believe I was trying to, but it was more just pure gambling. It was buying and hoping it would go up, but it never went up.
Waro, a lot of our listeners are in the same position you are. Right now, they're probably coming into the market, seeing all these numbers go up, and they want to buy and potentially make money. Now, self-aware that you were gambling back then. How did you learn to trade? And how do you think our listeners can learn to actually properly trade?
Oh, I'm not really sure if I'm the right person for that question because, well, I mainly just followed Satoshi Flipper in the first few months of 2020. That's really what I did. And I learned some from your courses, the support, resistance, basic Fibonacci, that kind of stuff.
You learned from my technical analysis course. Amazing.
Yeah, I learned from your courses. And well, basically what I tried to use as well is just some OnChain Analytics check posts here and there. Just very basic stuff, really.
Very basic stuff to you now, Waro, because you're a veteran of the market. You've been around since 2018. But let's dive a little bit deeper into that. Firstly, I am flattered that you learned from my technical analysis course, which anyone listening, it's free on YouTube. You can go check it out. No strings attached. You learn how to perform technical analysis. Now, Waro, you mentioned on-chain analytics, and I would not be a good podcast host if I didn't dive into that. Tell us a little bit about the on-chain analytics that you use.
Well, basically like the inflow and outflow of coins on exchanges that, when more coins on exchanges mean there's more to be sold on the exchanges. So there's, a higher sell pressure up above, which makes it harder for the price to really skyrocket.
Could you give us a recent example of some on-chain analytics that you used that helped you make a trade?
Well, I don't really base that much out of it, like not the short-term trades. But back in July, well, you saw that we had the halvening earlier in May, and you saw that the supply was just going down, 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 and you also saw that the demand was still the same.
Right.
So when I just made a bet at the 9,100 level, that well, we have consolidated for about 4 weeks. The hash rate is now starting to turn bullish. I'm just going to build a position here and just hope for the best, basically.
So, did you have risk management in place there, Waro? When you were building that position, did you have a stop loss saying if the price hits here, I'm out?
No, no, I didn't, because of the fact that I just was pretty much a degenerate.
So, are you?
To be
What
quite
about
honest.
now? Wait, this was in July. So you said, I recall earlier. When did the trading start? You said March, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was much trading, but I knew back then that Chainlink and Tezos were very much chatting up every time. Every time that Bitcoin pulled back or they pulled back, they would skyrocket back up.
So you spotted that
So I was
trend.
just following trending coins back then.
And you follow trending coins, you buy in the pullback, and you scale up your positions from there, right?
Yeah, basically.
And
that's why.
Are you still degenning, Waro? Have we stopped degenning, or is it still very much degen trading? Because coming along from
No, I mean, sometimes like my positions might be a bit too big, so people would consider it degenerate. But I don't know. I think it's managed. In my mind,
you are in a position where you've managed to turn $10,000 into 100K. That is incredible. I'm sorry, not 100K, a million. It's so absurd. I naturally go to a 10x, not what you've managed to pull off, which is 100x. That is ridiculous. And you've done this over multiple different trades, but keeping that money is going to be way, way harder than, what it took to make it. So what are your plans to keep it? How are you going to make sure you keep this 1 mil as it is?
Well, what I really plan to do is when the eventual pullback of this parabolic advancement comes, is just buy a lot of spot Bitcoin, really. That's really what I just plan to do, to at least have some money put into Bitcoin for the long haul.
So your plan
so
is...
that I don't have everything in a trading wallet, but just have some Bitcoin invested.
Are you holding just $1 million USD right now on Binance?
Yeah, currently.
That's insane.
I mean, I had some spot Bitcoin that I bought in the 10,000, 11,000 range back when we first pulled back from the 12,000. So that's when I bought like 20 Bitcoins. And that's what I sold around 15,000, 16,000.
Do you hold any Bitcoin right now?
No, currently I don't.
Okay, so you're fully cashed out as we're going into 20K. Hopefully you get a sharp pullback and you can start loading up.
Yeah. I hope for the best about that, but we'll see. If I have to buy back higher, then I have to buy back higher. That's just the name of the game.
For sure. And you quit your job recently, didn't you?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that. How did you decide now's the time to quit the job?
Well, basically, looking at the historic market cycles, you know that we are now currently in the 2016-ish range of our current macro cycle. So I figured that the full run just is coming next year, and I had a bit of capital back in September when I said to my boss that I would quit. I had about 300K at that point after the first big drawdown. And I was like, well, now is the time to make that jump and to fully invest myself in this space and get better.
And what have you done to get better now that you're fully invested into the space? What changed? Because you said you quit at 300K, now you're at 1 million. How does that happen, Waro? I'm still struggling to understand, because you told me I was riding the trending coins, Link, XTZ, but that explains maybe coming from 10K to 100K, but 10K to 1 million?
Well, that was more, that was the first part, honestly. That was from March till May. But every bit of money that I made during that part, I lost it in June. So I went from 10 to 50 and then back to 10K
Oh, wow.
in June. So I had to start all over again.
Waro, that is how much? 50 to 10K. That is a 80% loss. Your portfolio went down
Yes.
80%. If that happens again in a million, that's a heavy loss, Waro. Are you prepared for that?
I know. Well, no, but I am more careful with the trades that I do now, or at least I
So
like
how
to
are you more
believe I
careful?
am.
Tell me specifics, Waro. Because I don't want to think that you are going to continue degenning now that you have 7 figures built up.
No, I'm not going to continue degenning. But back then, I was when I first hit 50K, I was fully invested in every bit of altcoin,
Right.
pretty much, like fully in altcoins. And then the drop from, I believe, 10K to 8.6K,
Right.
or what was it, around that? And that pretty much destroyed my portfolio. Pretty much everything was gone again. And I really needed some time off the market at that point because that was a heavy
So
loss.
did that affect you heavily psychologically? And you were still working a full-time job at this point?
Yes, I was still working full time. So I just pretty much just quit at that point. I had to reset my mind, come to terms with what happened, and just start to look for better opportunities
What changed
again.
at that point? Try to dive into specifics for me because that's what our listeners want to know. A lot of them have suffered that sort of loss. What was the flick that switched when you lost that 50 to 10K?
What do you mean exactly? What switched?
Because did something must have changed because you went from 10 to 50K back to 10 and then 10 to a mil. What changed that time round? Surely it wasn't just luck.
I think it was a bit of timing. I mean, you need a bit of luck in the market. There's no saying that you don't need luck. Of course, you need a bit of luck that it is on your side. But what really happened, pretty much my gigantic run from 20 to 100K was just Bitcoin and Ethereum going from 240 to 380 and Bitcoin from like 9,000 to 11,000. So that really did the first propelling of my portfolio again. So that brought me from 20 to 100 because before that I had a VeChain investment that earned me 10,000 from a 1,700 investment. So, but yeah, I don't think it was entirely up to me. I think there was a big part that was just luck, honestly. I got the exact run and compiled it on every stop that we had. So we went from 9,000 to 10,400, and that's when I just degenerated more into the Bitcoin position, honestly. And then went up to 11,000. So that's when I took my first bit of profit out, bought myself a mountain bike.
You got yourself a mountain bike. Well, glad you rewarded yourself.
Yeah. Yes. That's what I try to do. I try to reward myself after reaching a certain goal.
So
I think
I've got a few questions to follow up on that. Firstly, do you use leverage when you trade? And how do you use leverage? Where does it fit into your strategy?
Not in the way that you should be using it. I didn't exactly use it to manage my risk accordingly, at least not at that point in time.
Right.
I used more to, get more gains.
It does explain how we've gotten from a 10K portfolio to a 1 million portfolio. And Waro, I love how transparent you're being. You are fully self-aware of the risks you took, the luck element involved, how you're transitioning more and more into taking the risk management seriously. And it's hopefully setting a good example for everyone. So right now, if Bitcoin, say, it crashes to 10K, what happens to your portfolio?
Absolutely nothing. Like I would probably buy a lot more Bitcoin at that point.
What if it keeps going down after? What if it keeps going down after you buy it? Say Bitcoin goes to 6K, goes to 4K, because Bitcoin is no longer the main coin. Ethereum takes over and no one likes Bitcoin anymore. Not probable, but possible. What happens then?
I don't know. Really. I do not have an answer for that because I am a, well, Bitcoin bull in the end. Some would consider me a more of a maximalist at that point, but I don't know. I just believe in Bitcoin and the
Waro, I
future
love
of
this. I
Bitcoin.
love the dynamic that's going on here because I think our listeners are going to benefit so much from this. So let's extrapolate that a bit. Do you want to trade for a career? Do you want to do this for a lifetime? Is this what you want to be? No.
No, no, really. Like what I really want to do is just use our current window of opportunity to make as much money as I can and retire from that, and just see what I want to do
So
with my
what is
life
that
afterwards.
retirement number for you, Waro?
Really, what I said back a couple months ago is anywhere between 2 and 5,
Two and
but
five mil.
we'll see
That's your target.
where we get. Yeah, that was my initial target, but like it's not really a set number. If I get more, I get more. It's really just that simple. I just want to use our current window of opportunity to make the money that I want to make, and then I'll see from
Waro, have
there.
you? So I've been around since 2017. Even before that, late 2016 is when I first got the crypto bug implanted into my brain, and started getting more and more interested, diving down the rabbit hole. I have heard horror stories. I know people in 2017 that built up to mid seven figures, and then they were DMing me telling me they had 5 figures left. And it happens. It happens faster than you can imagine, and we'll never know when it's going to come. The top happens when no one expects it. It's impossible to predict that exact top. And if, from what I've been hearing, and I'm sure a lot of other people have this, if your plan is just to buy Bitcoin when it dips, you will never know if it's the dip or if it's that final breakdown. And you're telling me right now you're 1 mil away from your goal. It sounds to me like there need to be measures in place to protect your capital. When I say what happens if it keeps going down, and you say you don't know, that sounds to me like a recipe for disaster. Wouldn't you agree?
I guess, yeah, you would be right in that. But I think that's, yeah, I honestly no answer. There need to be better measures in
Then
place
why
for
don't you
that.
put them in?
But I do want to get to, well, I just don't believe from a macro cycle perspective that
And I
we're
agree
there
with you,
yet.
Waro. I
In
agree
all,
with you,
yeah,
but are there any absolutes
but
in the
that's
market?
why.
Exactly. So why would you let a low probability event risk and wipe out your life-changing money that you have over here? It really wouldn't, Waro. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation now, because I truly hope that it motivates you to put stricter measures on that capital, because you have pulled off a miracle, Waro. The best traders in the world can't turn 10K into 1 million. That's how difficult that is. Like, it has been done, but you need to take on absurd risk to make those sorts of returns. They are crazy returns. Few people have ever come close to pulling off something like that, and you've successfully done it. So let's put in those measures to protect that capital. I've got the risk management course out. It's got everything you need to know to make sure it stays safe. And yeah, Waro, like, are you agreeing with me? Is this going to motivate you at all to put some stricter measures in place?
Well, maybe not. Simply because of our current macro perspective, that we're just
But
not
what
there
if,
yet.
Waro? The what if? We don't know for sure. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, just there is a part where you always want to be invested into the market, and maybe I should cash out some earnings to just euros and invest in regular stocks. I don't know really,
Have you
but
considered speaking
yeah.
to a financial advisor or planner?
Yeah, I have considered doing that,
Well,
but I
so
haven't done
here's
it
some
yet.
advice because you're not the first person I've told you need to go see a financial planner. Crypto has put in a lot of people into a position where they have more money than they know what to do with. They've never had this sort of money before. Did you know most lottery winners go broke? And
Yes, I
right
do
now,
know that.
Waro, you have won a lottery and you are displaying all the characteristics of someone who, and I say this from a place of love. I say this from a place of you've been following me for a while. We've DM'd, we've interacted. I think you're awesome. I love your energy. And I say this from a place of love. You are displaying all the characteristics of those lotto winners that go broke. And the thing is, you're smart too. So you know it as well. You're literally telling me I know this, but I don't care. Uh, Bro, I don't want to see you go broke after you've got bills.
I do care. Like, I would not like to go
You
broke,
would
of
not like
course.
to, but you do not care that you are exhibiting these behaviors, which every lotto winner who goes broke has, because you need to start putting the measures, the systems in place to make this 1 mil last a lifetime. Heck, if you take super low risk investments, that 1 mil can generate you 100K a year. Like super low risk investments.
Yeah,
And most people in the world can live off 50K a year. Heck, if you get that tax efficient, you don't even have
yeah.
to pay tax on most of that. If you build up a very tax efficient, what are you doing about tax, Waro?
Uh, yeah, good question. I mean, I do know about the taxes, but I know it's also not the same as it is in the United States. Like, we don't have to pay on every trade that we make here. I do know that you need to pay, I believe, a certain percentage at the end of the year over your entire capital. So basically, that 1 million. So that's where you need to pay a tax on. But I do not believe that I need to pay on every trade, or at least that's not what
Okay,
I
so
found on our
firstly, forget the
government
government
website.
websites. You have enough money now to get yourself the best accountant you can. That accountant will save you more money than you pay him. So that's step one, Waro. You've got yourself a fortune. Let's go chat to an accountant. Man, I wish, listen back to this episode and make sure you carry out these steps, Waro, because you've got yourself set for life. You just really need to know what to do with it. So, firstly, you need that accountant because a lot of that money is going to go to tax. And if you don't pay that tax, like that's up to you, man. I always personally prefer to pay taxes because I don't want to live my life looking over my shoulder. Next, once taxes is done, you need to think, okay, what am I going to do with this money next? Now, tax efficient investments, they are a great place to put it. And the reason I keep bringing up tax is, did you hear that horror story about the student in the United States in 2017 who made a 400K, who owed 400K in taxes 1 year, lost it all the next year, and then had to pay the government 400K in taxes? He absolutely ruined his life because of it. So if you lose your 1 million in a different year, you may owe more in taxes than you have.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't think our taxes are really that bad here from what I've seen, at least. So, and I do plan to pay my taxes and have enough capital to pay my taxes. I'm not the type of
Yeah.
person to go into fraud and do that kind of thing. Like, I'm really not that type of person. I just don't know
Let's get
enough
that
yet.
accountant. Let's get that accountant and tax planner that does know enough to do that. Waro, so your trading style seems to be you find opportune moments to buy dips on trending coins, and then you ride out those trends until you hit those targets. Is that a good simplified way to put it?
That's kind of what I do,
You've
really.
told me you're going to get on the accounting side. We don't have a long term plan yet. Waro, you told me and you mentioned it, and I'm getting vibes. Are you a gamer?
Yes, I am a gamer.
A lot of us traders are. I actually used to be a heavy gamer myself. Do you find your gaming has helped with your trading at all? Mm-hmm.
I know that I'm very competitive, so I believe that that's one of the things that has helped me. But it can also be one of the things that works
Yeah.
against you
What
in
sort
the
of
long
games are you
term.
into?
Currently, I play a lot of Rocket League.
Rocket League. That's the football with the cars, right?
Yeah, I'm really bad at it, but I like playing it with my friends. So that's what it is.
Interesting. It's a very much a reaction game. I find most traders tend to be more into strategic games like I don't know, League of Legends, Dota, and those sorts of games.
Oh no,
Interesting.
no, not at all. No, I'm more of the MMORPG as well. So I
Maple
used to play a
Story.
lot of
Never heard of
Maple
that.
Story back in the day. I used to play, yeah, that's a
Oh,
2D
nice.
multiplayer game. It used to be very big back then, along with World of Warcraft.
Of course, I definitely know World of
You know
Warcraft.
World of
That's one
Warcraft, or do
everyone
you
knows.
not know that one? Yeah, like it was either Maple Story or World of Warcraft here where I lived. So
So you said you
everyone
bought
was
a
playing it.
mountain bike, Waro. What other cool things have you done with your earnings?
Well, I bought the laptop we're currently recording on, so that's one of the
Nice.
things. I bought my mom a phone that I'm going to give as a present tomorrow.
I love that.
And what else? Yeah, there's another MacBook coming in December, basically. So just the things that I like to buy or want to have, but never had the cash to buy. That's really what I buy.
So you're not into fancy cars and Rolexes and
No,
stuff
I
like that.
really do not care about cars at all. In fact, I still need to get a driver's license.
Oh man, I respect that. Staying true to yourself despite the money, not changing anything because of that. That's amazing, man. And honestly, it's why I'm doubling down on. I would hate to see you lose these incredible gains that you've made because no one goes from 10K to 1 million without taking on an extraordinary amount of risk. And I know the market cycle does look bullish, but it never ends. If you don't have the exit strategy, it'll continue to look bullish at 30K. It'll continue to look bullish at 40K, 50K, heck, maybe even up until 100K. I'll give you an example. Like in 2017, the thing that made me the absolute most money, probably the easiest money I've ever made in my life, was ICX. Do you remember ICX?
Icon, yeah, I remember that one.
So I bought the ICO for ICX, and that went 120x. And I actually bought a lot of the ICO for ICX. So I had your 5-figure to 7-figure experience through that, and I cashed out almost all of it except the last sum, which was still 6 figures. That's a lot of money to anyone. I don't care who you are. 6 figures is a lot of money. And I said to myself, I'll cash it out at $15 when it was around $13 or $14. I'm like, okay, cool. I've got made a bunch of money. I'll leave that last bit. And it never came, Waro. It went up, it dipped, and I said, oh, I'll just wait a little bit higher. Now it's only worth half what it was before. Kept going down, and I pissed away 6 figures in that, Waro. So it can happen to anyone, even someone like me who understands the mathematics, understands the emotions. I've been through it. I've done it, and I'm trying to get that across to you. Okay, so
Yeah, I mean, there are things that I need to learn, especially because I was, born in the bear market. I'm well aware of that. I've not really experienced the full-on bull market yet. Even this, what we currently have, is not really a bull market yet in my mind, because we haven't really broken all-time highs on Bitcoin yet. So I really haven't experienced the full-on bull market. So I'm at a disadvantage there compared to other persons in this space.
well, with a bull market, the only thing that really changes is the trend overextends more than you possibly think it could. And it's similar to the style you play yourself, except you have to be a little less conservative with your targets. And here's a little bit of alpha I'll drop for you and our listeners. The easiest way to do this, especially when you enter price discovery, is just Fibonacci retracements. Every move that goes up, look at how far down it comes. If it comes to the 236 or the 382, then that is bullish. There's a lot of demand there. That move is likely to continue. But when you see those pumps start coming down to the zero point 0.5, the 618, or even lower below, that's the trend weakening. So that's the easiest way to look at those psychological changes as the price is going up. So with the bull market, pay attention to how much strength you think there is in the move, and be aggressive with your targets until you don't see strength, or use something easy like a trading stop loss. Have you ever used those?
Well, I used once, like a couple of days ago. It's the first time I used it.
And how did it
And
go?
I was happy. Well, it was the first time using it, so it didn't go very well. Like I didn't really know how to place it, so I just used what I thought was a good one. I used like 1.6% down from a wick, and I
1.6,
entered it
that
at
is close.
17,400 or something. I don't know. I did get stopped out on the first week down, so maybe that wasn't the smartest idea, but it was my first time using it.
Hey, you have to learn how to use it, and I hope your first time using it wasn't on a six-figure position or a super big one. Waro.
Well, I mean, well, the trading stop loss. I mean, like I made quite a bit of money out of it because I bought it at like 16,700, and
Very
I
nice.
got hit at 17,480.
Oh, so that's a decent play right there. Good profit.
Yeah, I mean, I bought the breakouts from that point, and I didn't know where we would get to, so I decided to just put a trading stop loss in place so that I would stay above 1 million.
How do
That's
you
really
spot
what I wanted.
breakouts, Waro? How do you spot breakouts? What do you look for when you're spotting a breakout?
Well, what I was really looking at was the next wave of our parabolic advancement. That's what I was really just looking at, and to see if we could get a breakout out of the high 16,000s level. You saw that the price was coming down a bit, but you also just saw that, well, we are above our rising wedge, close to our rising wedge. It was more of a bet that we would get there, and I did have a stop loss in place at that point. Like, I didn't want to lose a lot of money, but I wanted to just make some money.
Well, congratulations on that. Another successful trade. Waro, I truly hope that your success continues and we get some risk management in place, some accountants on board, and a whole team around you, because you have the resources to do that now. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I truly believe our listeners are going to learn so much from this episode, because so many people are going to be able to relate to you in your journey. Is there anything you'd like to leave our listeners with before we wrap up this episode?
Get a hold of your own psychology. Really, that's very important. I had some very bad days this past year because of my drawdowns. Like, I know that I took on some huge risks. I took on some huge losses. I did win bigger in the end, but not everyone's going to win bigger than what their losses are. So
Arguably,
really get a hold of yourself and manage your own losses accordingly.
Well, I mean, Waro, I was going to end it there, but I like that. I like that quite a lot. Let's expand a little bit on the dark days. Tell me, when did it get bad? Can you share a little bit with us? Because you said there was that 50 to 10K. Was there anything else?
You remember the drawdown from 12,000 to 10,000?
Yes, I do.
Early September. Yeah, that's when I lost about 50%. So
You
I
lost
went from
50% of what?
600K back to 300.
Wow. So you went 10 to 50, back to 10, up to 300, up to 600, back to 300, then to 1 million.
Yeah. So every time I lost, I won bigger.
Insane, Waro. That is absolutely insane. I don't think you understand how lucky you are to still be around, man.
I'm pretty lucky. I know.
Well, I'm sure there's an element of skill in there as well, because no one can consistently do this without some sort of skill. So yeah, the last point for you and the listeners, double down on that risk management. If you make life-changing money, change your life. Thank you so much for joining us, Waro. That is it for this episode of the Market Meditations podcast.